guys, Reese here from Psalm 71:17, and I am here to give you my very first lesson in my solo course. If you didn't watch the introduction, you didn't really miss much. But if you didn't watch our introduction, all of us are giving a solo individual course on how to do certain things. Noah is going to be doing how to prove Christianity using apologetics. Sai is doing song leading and singing, while I'm doing giving speeches, creating and eventually delivering speeches. So today we're going to just begin with, obviously, the first thing you do when you make a speech. Choose a topic and create an intro. Now, choosing a topic is sometimes actually a lot harder than people think it is. People always think, oh, I need a speech, how about, Armor of God, done. And yet, I used to think it was that too. And yet, I have stared at that computer screen so many times, just trying to think of a topic. I'm not exaggerating here. One day, we were doing a Devo for the nursing home. It was a couple days before. And I had been nominated, or I had volunteered, to do the speech. So I sat down at this computer, and I just sat there. For the life of me, I couldn't think anything. I eventually settled on Psalm 23. I got a paragraph or two in, and I realized I had no idea what I was saying. So I completely deleted it. Then I thought, how about Fruit of the Spirit? So I did Fruit of the Spirit, got about 2 paragraphs in, and I didn't know what I was doing. That day, I wrote 3 different speeches. Each of them I got about a paragraph into, then I deleted them, because I didn't know what I was saying. That is the importance of choosing a topic. There are several very, very important factors when choosing a topic. Number 1, you have to make sure that this is a topic that interests you. I cannot emphasize this enough. If you're standing up there in the pulpit or in front of a podium or anywhere delivering a speech, and you're talking about something that you don't really care about, you're not giving a speech. You're just saying words. So that's definitely number 1. Make sure that you care about what you're talking about. Number 2, make sure other people will care about it. Like, I don't know, don't do it on something so totally random and vague that really interests you, but other people might find confusing. There is definitely a balance. But there are tons of subjects out there that could be cohesive to both you and to your audience. So those are 2 important factors. Number 3, make sure you have enough material on this topic. And again, I cannot stress this enough, because I would write out my speeches on that screen, and about halfway in I realized I'd used up all of my material, and I had about a page worth of material, and that was nowhere near enough. So make sure you have enough material. And number 4, make sure that some of that material is from the Bible. I've written, one time I was at a preacher camp, Little Mountain, and I wrote up a speech, which your goal is to write a speech and deliver it, and I realized I didn't have enough scripture. And let me tell you, it's very, very hard to add a scripture into a speech, and when you do, it seems kind of forced. There's this verse that says this, and then you go back to what you're talking about, because you didn't add enough. So make sure that if you're giving a speech about the Bible, make sure it actually has Bible in it. So, once you have your topic, one of the most important things after the topic is the intro. I would almost argue that the intro is more important than the topic, because a person's attention span, mine in particular, people's attention spans are notoriously short. After about, a sentence or 2, people tend to lose interest in what someone is saying, which is why you gotta hook them with your intro. An example of this, a couple years back, I was doing a speech for Lads to Leaders. If you don't know what that is, it's a convention in which young men are trained to give speeches and lead songs and do little puppet shows and things revolving around a certain topic. It's a very good convention. It's available for girls too. Obviously the boys are not allowed to watch, but it helps to train you to build up your biblical skills, I guess you'd call them. But I was doing a speech for Lads to Leaders, and I wanted to draw a comparison between the topic and an event in my childhood. The topic was trying to get to heaven or something. It wasn't that wording, but That was basically the gist of it. And the parallel was, I was playing hide and seek, and I was on a hill, and the person was coming towards me, and I had to go through a thorn bush and over a fence. I was talking about how the thorn bush is like sin and how it grabs at you and tears you. And then the fence was Jesus. You have to go through, or over in the case, Jesus, to get to heaven, which was represented by the base. So, how did I hook people? By talking about hide and seek. My very first words were, I was in a desperate situation. If I had begun that speech by saying, today I will be talking about how to get to heaven, I will cover the certain aspects of getting to heaven, and then I will conclude, nobody really would have listened to me. They would have said, everyone talks about the same topic. So they would have thought, okay, this guy has really nothing interesting or new to bring in. But when I started it like that, people would sit up a little straighter and think, oh, I kind of want to hear, what is this guy talking about? Why was he in this situation? So I cannot tell you how important a good intro is. I once heard a saying that's talking about speaking, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then told them what you told them. Which is basically what I just said. If you're giving a speech on the armor of God, you go up and say, today I'll be talking about the armor of God, and then you make your points about the armor of God, and then when you conclude you say, we have just talked about the armor of God. Obviously paraphrase. There are plenty of good speeches like that, always full of good Bible, but they don't grab your attention, so no one really knows. Definitely not what I would recommend. If it works for you, go at it, but I definitely think that if you can get people's attention before you lose them, it is a lot easier to hold them than if you lose them first and then try to pick them up later. I've had that a couple of times where people will start off a speech and you just sort of, you sort of doze off, whatever. And then they'll try to pull you back in with a story. People will sit up and then when the story's over, they'll go back down. So definitely easier to catch them while they're still listening than after they've stopped. That makes a little sense. Some of you may know my, I guess I can call it an article. My article, The Global Flood of Genesis, Fact or Fiction. Forget what I called it, but it's on the website, our website. There is a link in our description if you want to visit that, read this article. It's pretty good stuff. Don't want to brag about myself, but we've got some great articles there. Noah and Gabe and myself have been writing articles for a while now, so check those out. But yeah, this particular article has seen, I originally wrote it as a school paper on how to prove the global flood. I then did it as a speech at the Morning Point nursing home, and I later put it as an article on our website, so it's seen a lot of action, I guess. But my hook for that speech is, if someone told you that the world was going to be eaten by a giant crocodile named Jeremy, you would just laugh. And so I can only imagine that the people who were listening to that, or even people who read that on our website, must have sat up a little straighter, What is this guy talking about? I thought this speech or this article was supposed to be about the Bible, and he's talking about giant crocodiles named Jeremy. There was no such thing. And it would make them wonder a little bit, which I would be a little cautious with this. Wonder is definitely a good thing. You want to make people think, where's he going with this? But there is the other extreme. Do not make your hook so drastic, so radical, that it is unclear what you're actually talking about. I've had examples of this so many times. It's like some people try to base their speech around their hook. Never a good idea. If you can get a good hook and then write a good speech after that, well done, great job. I've never been able to manage it, but if you try too hard on your hook, it will become unclear what you're actually saying. I've been using the armor of God as an example. If I used that hook, that giant crocodile named Jeremy eating the world, if I used that as a hook in the armor of God speech, no one would really know what I was talking about. And if I personally listened to a speech in which somebody used that hook and then that topic, I'd feel two things. I'd feel a little disappointed, and I'd also feel a little irritated, because I had been wanting to know what he was talking about when he was talking about giant crocodile named Jeremy, and then he never addresses it and never links it into the speech. So I'd be like, I kind of wanted to know what he was talking about, and that would not make me want to listen to the next speech, or the next speech. And so make sure that your intro correlates completely with your topic. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching my first solo video. Subscribe if you want to be notified when I come out with more. Try to do them at the very least, at least twice a month. Definitely try to get more done then. Next time, we'll be starting the outline of a speech. Comment below on a sample topic for that. Because if I'm going to write out an outline, I'm going to need a topic. Comment below on what topic you think I should do. And if you want to contact us, email us at psalm71.17website@gmail.com. No caps. Or you could even follow us on Twitter at psalm_71, no caps. So thanks for watching, guys.